Okay, so where are we? We have discussed about the release management yesterday. We have discussed about the types of systems that we use and how these instances and the systems are split, and about the data centers, and in the also about the release management. Okay, now so far we discussed that certification is mandatory to have to implement success factors for any customer, implement or support. This is required in many places. Certification is required in many places. One example is, one main thing is the provisioning access. To get the provisioning access, you need to be a certified consultant. So let's go and look at how to do the certification. Okay, here we discuss that provisioning can only be accessed by certified consultant. Okay, let's discuss about certification today. Now, certification is very important for any success factors implementations or support projects. And we have certifications for each module. For Employee Central, the certification code is THR81. The code for Employee Central certification is THR81. You'll be getting 80 multiple choice questions, 80 MCQs, and you need to get a score of 64% or 65%. Let me see, is equal to 65 into, sorry, 80 into 65%. Yeah, 65 is the pass percentage. That means you need to answer 52 questions correctly. Anything above 52, you are passed. Anything below 52 questions is failed. Out of these 80 questions, some of the questions will have multiple answers. All of these 80 questions are multiple choice questions, but some of them has got multiple answers. And wherever you have multiple answers, like if a question has got 2 answers or 3 answers, so they'll specify saying that, they'll give a note saying that this has got 2 answers, or this question has got 2 answers or 3 answers, and you need to answer all of those correctly. There are no negative marks, and this has to be answered in 3 hours. You can take up the examination from anywhere. There are no restrictions. You can sit back at home and you can take the examination. But only thing is, a proctor will be watching you throughout the examination. Those 3 hours, a proctor, you need to share your webcam, and then proctor will be watching you. They'll ask you to share your government ID proof, and then they'll ask you to show your place where you are sitting. You should not be keeping any mobiles with you. You should not be having any of the material, or no, you should not, nobody should be sitting along with you. So they'll ask you to rotate the cam and show you, your surroundings where you are sitting, and you can start your examination. You'll not be able to open any other application other than the examination paper. So you'll, at the end of the like after answering all 80 questions, you'll be getting your score immediately, whether you're passed or failed. So you'll have a split of all the questions, like which areas, how much you have scored, and the total score, if you are passed or failed. Okay, any doubts here? Now, the examination can be taken up from SAP website, training.sap.com/certification. This one. Okay. If you go to training.sap.com, you will find the access purchase subscription. Okay. Or you can go search for your certification codes, SVU SAP certifications. In the recent release, they have changed the format. THR81. You see here, THR81 2305. 2305 is the latest version. So every 6 months, your certification will also be updated. Now the latest version what we have is THR81 2305. Okay. You see here, Employee Central Core 1H 2023. Go click on view details. Have here 80 questions. 64 is your 64% is the cutoff score, 180 minutes, and then it is in English. We have two types of subscriptions. One is CER 006, which costs around 44,000 INR, 44,000 plus taxes. Okay. And second is CER 001, which costs you 17,668. Here you will be getting 6 attempts. CER 006, you will be getting 6 attempts which are valid for 1 year. So let's say today, if I am subscribing for this, I will have 6 attempts, and the 6 attempts are valid till next year. Here you will be getting only 1 attempt. Now, if you fail the first attempt here, you need to take another subscription. Again, you need to pay 17,000. Whereas here, if you fail in the first attempt, you can use your second attempt. You fail in second attempt, you can use your third attempt. So you can use 6 attempts for 6 different module certification. You can do certifications in 6 different modules. Depending on your project, if you are asked to do any other certifications, you can do that. Is that? Okay. Any doubts here? Now the certification, earlier we used to have 80 straight away questions. Okay. 80, some of these 80, out of 80 questions, some of them are scenario based questions. Like most of the questions are straightforward questions, like the theoretical part are, or the from the implementation guide. If you are thorough with implementation guide, you can answer all of the questions. Some of the questions, like 10 to 15 questions, would be scenario based. Like if you are asked to do this configuration, how are you going to manage? Or if this is what is the customer requirement, what configuration will you do? Which option will you choose? Okay, so those kind of scenario questions you'll be getting. Now, earlier we were getting till 2022 second half, we are getting all 80 questions, no, as a multiple choice. But now they have split the question paper into 2 parts: 60 multiple choice questions, okay, which are of like theoretical part, and then last 20 questions will be, once you submit this, you'll get another set of 20 questions where you'll have all the screenshots. Now if you are asked to configure this thing, how will you configure? They'll give you the screenshot of the business rules and the workflows. That concepts called workflows and the business rules. So from these 2 areas, you'll be getting 10 questions. Okay, so those are also multiple choice, but completely of scenario based. Okay, clear on certification? Any doubts? No?
Hello, Venu.
Okay. Yes.
After our first attempt, what is the time period? I mean,
You can take it up immediately. If the slots are available, you can immediately book. Well, let's say I have written my examination at 10 a.m. Okay, 10 to 11 or 12. Okay, now if I want to take immediately, you can go and check the available slots. If the slots are available, if I want to take it up 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, you can take up.
okay.
Earlier, you are getting the same questions. Now, for the entire 6 months, the version, if you take the latest version, it is 2305. Earlier, we were getting the same questions. 6 months, no, anytime you write, you'll have to answer the same questions, but the sequence was varying. Now, this year they have changed. So every time you write the certification, your questions would vary.
Thank you.
Okay.
Venu, while we are taking the exam, you said we have to be on webcam. Is it
Yes.
needed throughout the exam, throughout the 3 hours?
Throughout the yes.
Okay. Yeah.
If you're not on webcam, there's no point, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're taking up this examination from your home, somebody should be watching you what you're doing.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Now, when you subscribe in the certification, okay, and when you do your certification, you'll be getting a S user ID. Okay. So this is your, once you do your certification, this S user ID is a certified ID. But if you are not associated with any implementation partner, now you'll be logging in with your email ID and SF will be giving you the S user ID. Now this S user ID, you need to share it with your implementation partner. Now if I am joining Deloitte, okay, I need to share this S user ID with them. And when you share this S user ID, they will convert this S partner. So that's why we're calling it as partner ID. Now, after 1 year or after 2 years, if you're moving to a different company, different organization, you will have to share the ID. Now here, you did your certification with this as user ID. Your certificate is transferred to this ID. If you're joining a new organization, you need to share this as user ID, saying that you're having your certification on this ID. So they will be giving you another as user ID. They'll be giving you different as user ID. This is your partner ID again. Now with these IDs, you can log into any portal like certificationtraining.sap or help.sap or community.successfactors.com and so on. You can use this one for your provisioning access. If you try to request for provisioning access with this ID, you'll not be able to do because you're not associated with partner here. Okay, we'll be discussing about the provisioning access as well. So when you try to access the HXM CloudOS portal where you go and request for provisioning access, system will throw out error saying that this is not a partner ID. This is not associated with partner. So either you can log into this one, or if you have moved to a different organization, you can use this one. Now every time you change your job, you'll have to share the latest S user ID on which you have your certifications. Now, once you do your certification, let's say I've done my certification in 1H 2023. When the release happens in 2H, you will be asked to take another exam, which is called the Delta or Stay Current, which will contain few questions, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. Okay, again, all of those are multiple choice questions, and these questions will be from the release that happened recently. So whatever topics that we have, like major topics that we have, you will have to answer some questions on it. Now this is to make sure that you're up to date. Maybe some features which were not existing earlier are now available in the system. Okay, so those things you'll have to answer it here. They'll be giving you the content as well, from which areas they'll be asking the questions. You'll have to log into a portal called Learning Hub. And this Learning Hub is generally given by your implementation partner. If you are working with Deloitte will give you Learning Hub access. You can also take it on your own, but it is expensive. Nobody buys or nobody subscribes for Learning Hub on their own. It costs somewhere around 2.5 to 3 lakhs. But for organizations or the implementation partner, they will be getting on the discounted price. They will be giving the Learning Hub access to every consultant because they have to keep their certification active. Now, every release will have to go and do this Delta 2024. You have to do your Stay Current and Delta. We were calling it as Delta earlier. Now we are calling it as Stay Current. So these 5 questions or 6 questions, you need to answer all of them correctly. You can take it up any number of times. There is no limitation like you'll have to pass in first attempt or second attempt. You can take it up any number of times. You'll get the same questions. Okay, so every release you'll have to go and do the stay current. Once you clear your stay current, your certification will be updated. Here your certification was 1H 2023. Once you clear your stay current here, so your certification will be updated to 2H 2023, 1H 2024 and 2H 22. Let's say you have not done your deltas or stay current because of some reason. Maybe you shifted your job, or you moved to a different organization and you didn't get the Learning Hub access on time. So your certification will be expired here. You will have to redo your certification. Like current release, whoever has done their certification or stay currents in 2H 2022, now we'll have to do our stay currents because the release happened on June 2nd in the production system. So after June 2nd, we start doing the stay currents until August 31st. Before August 31st, we'll have to clear these tokens. After August 31st, if you don't have your active certification, that will be expired. You will have to redo your certification again as 1H 2023 or 2H 2023. Is that clear? Yes. No. Thomas. Any doubts here on Certification Hub and Learning Hub?
No, Win. You're clear.
Okay. Now, there is another portal called Partner Edge. You can log into Partner Edge using the S user ID with which you are certified, the partner one. That's why it is called as Partner ID. Now you cannot log into Partner Edge using this ID because this is not associated with partner. This ID is associated with partner. So you can log into Partner Edge. In the Partner Edge, you will be doing number of activities. Okay. Once you log into Partner Edge, you go to Products, SuccessFactors HXM Suite, Implement, and Tools and Assets. You have Explore Implementation Resources by SuccessFactors Solution and click on Explore. It will show you all the modules. Core HR and payroll, you have Employee Central, ECP, time tracking, and so on. And in talent management, you have these modules: compensation, learning, performance management, recruiting, and so on. These are the talent modules. And also you have HR analytics as well, people analytics. Okay. Now for Employee Central, you go to SuccessFactors Employee Central here. There are some documents which can be downloaded here. Implementation and training assets. These are important documents which we need to download. So first thing is implementation and administration guides. Implementation and administration guide. Implementation guide is very, very important for any module implementation, whether you're doing Employee Central or performance management or recruiting or compensation. You will have to download the latest version of implementation guide to refer the configuration. Now this will explain each and every step what we have to do in our implementations, what configurations are required, in what sequence we have to do the implementations. Okay, so SuccessFactors has given the implementation sequence. They recommend a particular implementation sequence. Okay, there are around 18 or 19 steps which we will have to follow in the same sequence. Okay, if you are new to implementations, download the Implementing Employee Central Core. This implementation guide, this can be downloaded into PDF. Okay, this is around 300 plus odd pages. Okay, it is worth printing and keeping a hard copy handy. Okay, anything that you want to refer, if you have any doubt related to any topic, the configuration related doubts to any topics, you can always open Employee Central implementation guide and see what is to be done. It explains you each and every step in detail. This is the only document which I recommend you to follow. Okay, this is there in our drive. Okay, I think you must have got access to drive now by now. You can download this document and keep it handy. If you want to take hard copy of it, print it and keep it, it is very useful. All of your certification questions you will be getting from this guide. Most of your interview questions you can answer from this guide. Now, if it is a scenario based, but then you'll not be able to answer. But if it is a straightforward question, then you can answer it from this book. Okay. you can download this into a PDF. So every release, after every release, they'll be updating the version of it. So let me go and download it. See here, this is 2H of 2H 2022. I think they have not updated, but the latest version is 1H 2023. If there are not major changes related to the implementation, then they may not update. But the latest version, what you see here is 2H 2022. Okay, you can go through the content here. See here, configuring the system, what you have to do. They will explain each and every detail, where to navigate, how to set up the systems. So you log in here, provisioning, go to this edit company settings, click on company settings, select this option. Okay, they'll explain each and everything in detail, what steps we need to do in the implementation. So once we start our configuration, we'll be opening this implementation guide and we'll do all our configurations from this book. Okay, clear on implementation guide?
Venu, Prakash here.
Yes, Prakash.
Can we download this implementation guide with any user ID, or we need a S user ID again?
Now what does it say? What does the website say? It is a partner edge.
Okay.
Okay,
So
the
we
name
need S
itself
user ID.
says partneredge.sap.com. You can use S user ID which is associated with your implementation partner.
Okay.
You cannot use this ID. This is a certified ID, but you cannot use this ID to download the documents. All of your documents related to your project you can download from PartnerEdge. This you will not be able to do if you don't have, if you are not associated with implementation partner, if you are not working with implementation partner. Okay, now the second thing is, this is implementation guide. Second thing in PartnerEdge, we have configuration workbooks. We have configuration workbooks. For Employee Central, these are the configuration workbooks. EC Foundation Object Workbook, Employee Data Workbook, Benefits
Hi,
Workbook,
Venu.
HR Transactions, Position Management, and People Central Hub. Yes, who's that?
Yeah, Venu. This is Manisha.
Yes, Manisha. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, you were saying this implementation guide will be having complete information about implementation, but a few things, I mean, like few info types and few fields will be based upon country specific, right? So, do we have all the country specific guide in the implementation guide, or
Now, each and every country specific fields, now the fields are not defined in implementation. Then they will say that you'll have to configure any custom of fields or any field that you want to enable. They'll guide you saying that you'll have to go to this particular action and configure it from there. But they will not explain, like for US, you'll have a field called FLSA status. You'll have to go to this place, enable that field. They will not explain you in that way.
no? Not
See,
only fields.
there are thousands of fields in employee profile. Like some of them are related to job information, some of them are related to personal information. Okay,
Yes,
so these are all
I mean,
info types in SAP HR. Okay, they may say that what information you store in each of the portlets, but they will not explain you in that detail that they'll go to each and every country specific field. No. The
okay.
process, if you want to enable, if you want to disable, or if you want to add a custom field, a particular country specific, that will be explained.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you, Venu. Yeah.
The same thing, whatever requirements Now your customer would be giving you the requirement. Okay. Now that requirement they will be giving in the configuration workbooks. These are configuration workbooks which are required for Employee Central. Example, now if I want to download Employee Central data workbook, when you start interacting with the customer, okay, your customer would be giving you their requirement, like I want to have these fields in my personal information. Now SuccessFactors gives us some standard fields which are part of SuccessFactors, and this is for every customer across the globe. Now all the customers may not need all of these fields. So your customer will be choosing what fields they want to have in each of these sections. Okay, let me go open. This is the workbook which I've downloaded. I think they have changed this 1H 2023 showing as 1H 2023. Let me also log into instance and show you what exactly is that workbook about. Now, this page what I've opened, this is called the people profile. You will find all the information about an employee on this page. In SAP, we have info type concept. Okay, but in here, where you'll have to go to each info type and take the information. But here, the people profile, you'll find all the information in one single page. And these are called the portlets or blocks. The employee data is split into multiple sections, subsections, and portlets. And each of the portlet or block contains a different set of fields. If I look at the personal information here, the first bit, you see here, there are some fields like first name, last name, middle name, salutation, suffix, and so on. So these are all fields of personal information. Maybe some of these are standard fields, some of them are custom fields. Now these two are custom fields. Okay, some of them are custom fields and some of them are standard fields, but you don't know which is a standard field, which is a custom field looking at this profile. You'll have to go to configuration screen and see what is a standard field and what is a custom field. Now, if I try to maintain the data in this portlet, you will see that some fields are mandatory fields and some of them are optional fields. Okay, and some of them are text fields, some of them are drop down fields, some of them are date fields. So each and every field has got some properties that we define in the system. Maybe SuccessFactors has given a particular field as a mandatory. Okay, but if your customer says, I don't want to have it as a mandatory field, I want to have it as an optional field, or the other way around. If a field is said to be optional, but your customer want to have it as a mandatory field. So all of these changes can be done in the system. If you see your personal information, first name is mandatory. You see wherever you see the star, that means that field is mandatory. These two fields are mandatory and this is optional. Middle name is optional. So that means you'll have to maintain data in all the mandatory fields if you want to save the record. If I don't maintain the mandatory field, it will not allow you to save. So your save is blocked because I've removed the mandatory field here. I've removed the value in the mandatory field. So this is required to save the record. You cannot save the record without having data in mandatory fields. So some of them are drop down fields. These are called pick lists. Okay, and some of them are date fields. You will be choosing a date from the calendar. So all of these fields and their data types and their properties are defined in your configuration workbook. Now let me go to configuration workbook here. This is the configuration workbook which I have downloaded now. It says Employee Central Employee Data Configuration Workbook. This is all about all the employee data that we see. Here you will see fields related to each and every portlet. If I go to personal information, this is the personal information, right? If I scroll up, you see here, first name. Now, each and every field will have a system ID, which is defined in the backend. You cannot change the system ID. What you can change is the label what you see in the front end. Now, SuccessFactors has given a field called first name, and this is showing as first name in the front end. If your customer says, I don't want to call it as first name, I want to call it as surname. So your customer will go give the text that they want to see in the front end. Let me enable editing. Here, your customer will maintain it as surname and they will highlight this. Now, this is the change what you have to do in the configuration. SuccessFactors has given the name as, sorry, not this one, first name, this one. Has given the name as first name, but your customer want to see it as a surname. And this type of the field is string. String allows you to input text and number. You can either add a text or a number or special characters. Maximum length is 128 characters. Now, if your customer says, I don't want system to allow maximum of 128, I want to have it as only 32 characters. This is the change that you'll have to do. After making these changes in the system, we'll have to test whether it is showing in the front end, whether it is showing as a first name or surname, or whether it is allowing. Now, what you'll do, you'll input the text and see. Now here it says the first name reached the maximum length of 25 characters. That means this is set to have only 25 characters. Somebody has changed the maximum characters to 25. See, 25 characters. But standard system, it has given as 128 characters. Somebody must have configured it. Okay. So all of the fields that you see here in personal information, so these fields, there are many fields. Now I only see some fields in personal information because only these fields are used here. But in the back end, there are many other fields. Now, if I see here, business first name or business last name, visibility is set as none. This is available in system, but not enabled by default. If you want to use this field, you'll have to go change. Let's say your customer says, I want to use business first name and business last name. So they will go and change this to whether you want to have it as editable or only viewable. Now I want to have it as edit. So this one and this one, I want to have it as edit. Now this is the configuration what we have to do. The customer has given you a requirement saying that they want to change the maximum length of first name. They want to they want to see the first name label as surname, and they want to see business first name and business last name as well, which are not available now. So we'll have to go and configure these fields. Visibility, whether it is mandatory or not. So these fields you need to configure in the system. Now this is an example of only personal information. So you also have country specific personal global information. You see it here. Configuration, you see the fields related to the standard fields related to each country are defined here in configuration workbook. Within personal information, there are country specific fields like veteran status. Now for US and all, you will be maintaining the veteran status. So do you want to have that field configured in the system? So which country you are implementing? So SuccessFactors supports all of these countries. These are all these countries. For all of these countries, we have different specific fields. So these fields you can go and enable. If you are implementing for a customer, okay, let's say it is a Zimbabwe customer, you go and see what fields are available for Zimbabwe. And you want to add more fields, you can also add. Okay. Now, apart from the standard fields, what SuccessFactors gives, these are all standard fields. Apart from the standard fields, SuccessFactors allows us to create custom fields as well. Now, if you see here, there are at the end, you'll see custom string 1 to 20, custom date 1 to 10, custom long 1 to 20, custom double 1 to 20. So you can have these many custom fields as well, up to 20 text fields, 20 long fields, 20 double fields, 10 date fields, and so on. For each portlet, for personal information, you want to have some custom fields, you can configure from these custom fields. Now they'll have to give what is the label of the field that you want to see it as. So let's say I want to have place of birth, or no, the nationality of the employee, or some field which is not available. Let's say I want to have a blood group. So configure a custom field called blood group. Make it as a field as a mandatory or optional. How many characters you want to display, or what values you want to show in the drop down. So all of these requirement will be given in the configuration workbook. Clear?
Go
ahead.
What is the maximum length size we can give, maximum length we can give for a string? Means if the customer is asking for a test or something, we send 1,000 characters or something. Can
Yes.
we
Now, sometimes if you want to have fields like, those are called CLOB fields, character length object fields. Now we can have up to 4,000 also, or more than 4,000 also.
that is a type is different?
Yes, the data type is different. If you want to configure a custom field with data type as CLOB, yes, you can define.
Okay, you mentioned here that I can see that custom strings are 4, like 4 number are there, 4 rows are there.
No, it is not 4, custom string 2 to 20. That means now if you want to use multiple fields, like if I go here, now I want to say this is custom. This is custom string 3. Okay, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So if your customers, now these are the available fields, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 up to 20. Okay. Now what do you want to call it as now? This one is, it will show as custom string 3 only here. But what your customer want to see? You want to see it as blood group. They want to see, let's say, medical status. Okay, they'll have to give the details here. What do they want to see it as? Whether it is editable or viewable. Okay, they'll have to give this requirement.
Venu.
Mandatory? Yes. Yes, go ahead.
So you're saying this as the workbook, right? And also in the system when we are configuring, if it is if you're configuring for multiple countries, we will have multiple fields, suppose 10 countries. For some countries it's the same common name we'll be using, for some countries it's a different name. So here we are just capturing country wise. On the left side we will be filtering and we'll be giving the visibility of the fields what you showed, but how that will be configured in the system, and if it is for 10 countries, 10 different fields are there, how we will be enabling it.
Okay, so now here if you see personal information, these are the common fields for every customer. These are not country specific. And you also have another section called, another tab called CSF, country specific personal information, which is global information. Now in the personal information itself, if I go to personal information, you have the option of maintaining a country specific fields here. You see here, add global information. When you go to global information, depending on the country that you choose, if I go select United States, you'll find all the fields that are specific to this country. Ethnic group, veteran, challenge veteran, and so on. Now, ethnic group, it says American, Asian, Black, and so on. So these are the values that we have for ethnic group in country United States. Now, if I select country India, maybe you'll find a different set of fields here. You see, that field is gone. There may be some common fields for all the countries, but with the different values. So depending on the country that we choose, system will only show those field values. Now, if US is also using challenge group, but they want to have a different set of values in the drop down. Yes, that is also possible. These are all India specific.
Okay, so
Now, this
these are the
configuration will be
default.
doing. Yes, these are all
Okay,
default. This comes by default in the system. Even
okay.
in these, each of these country specific fields, if you want to add, you can also add. I'll show you this. If I go to, if I want to configure that country specific fields, this is the place where we configure the employee profile fields. Okay, if I go to personal information, this is my personal information. In the personal information, you will see all the fields that you have it here in personal information. First name, last name, and so on. All of these fields, first name, and so on. If you see here, identifier, this is system given field, first name, this is first name. This is enabled and this is mandatory. So you can come here and change the data. Now these are all fields. Now some of them are not enabled. These are available in the system but not enabled. Now see, all of these enabled, no, you will not see in the front end. If you want to use this field, you go change it to yes. So it will start showing up in the front end for employee profile. So these are all the fields that are available. Apart from that, you can also add custom fields here. So there are 2 custom fields which are added. Okay. Now this is common for all of the customers. And if you want to have country specific, you expand on the personal information, you can maintain here. Now for personal information, it is called the global information. You go to global information, you see all of these fields. Now the fields, the ethnic group and all what we have seen for USA or for India, you'll find the fields here. You go to global information USA, you'll find the set of fields here, ethnic group, veteran and so on. Okay, so these are enabled. There are other fields which are not enabled. So these are those fields. You want to use it, you can enable it. You can also
So like,
configure some custom fields if you want to have.
okay, so while like filling the workbook, do we need to get into each one of like country, check like
Now
which one is?
if your customer is operating from only one country, so then you don't have to go to all of the country specific fields. Here, it gives you all the country specific fields, but we don't know, SAP doesn't know for which country you are going to implement, right? So if it is only for Zimbabwe, then go just see, let's say for this country, Argentina, you're implementing for Argentina. See what are available for Argentina. And if these are not sufficient, you want to add some more fields for Argentina, you go and configure that. You go and add them here. Okay, you don't have to bother about USA. Now you want to, these are available in the system for all of the countries because SuccessFactors support all of these countries. If you don't configure or if you don't want to use it, either you leave it or if you don't want to see them, you just go set it to enable no. Now, at the employee level, if you want to show only one country, United States, let's say you're implementing for US customer and you want to show only the country of United States. So enable, you set it to no here for all the countries. You set the enabled yes to only United States. It will show up in the drop down, the country drop down, it will show only United States there.
Yeah, but like if you're implementing for like more than one, like say
More
suppose
than
5
one
countries,
country,
10.
yes. For all of these countries, you can just go and enable it, and for other countries, you set it to enable no if you don't want to see them. For those
Okay,
countries you
so
want to have additional fields, you can also configure.
okay, so here like we need to manually go and enable it for that many countries.
Yes.
Okay, and
This
like
comes by default. Where whatever you see here
uh-huh.
as now this is the
Mm-hmm.
fresh configuration guide which I have downloaded. So what
Mm-hmm.
all of these fields, what you see, visibility is edit. That means all of these are enabled. Some of these fields which are not required, maybe they are available, but maybe it is set as none. So you don't see that field.
Okay, and like
Um,
initially when we are configuring, like for whichever countries we are not implementing, we need to go and set it as no, so those countries are disabled automatically.
Yes.
Okay. So it's like we configure and then we fill the workbook, or we fill the workbook and then we configure.
No. Customer gives you the requirement in configuration workbook. Based on this workbook, we need to configure it in the system.
Okay. So customer will not be knowing to like fill the workbooks. No, they'll have their business
Now
process.
we'll have
Mm.
to tell them what they have to do or know how to fill these workbooks. We'll have to know when you start interacting with the customer, you start
Mm-hmm.
gathering the requirements from the customer, you'll be giving them all of this information. You'll have to
Oh,
explain how to log in, how to hire employee, what details we maintain in each portlet. So we'll have to explain that.
okay.
So what needs to be explained, that is also there in the partner. I'll show you that. That next topic is
Mm.
that.
Okay.
where
After
Thomas here.
configuration work. Yes, Thomas.
See, what you shown is from the partner edge, which is a standard this thing. Let's see
Hmm.
if it's a support system. Already some configuration has been done. Can we
Hmm.
download section sheet with the configuration latest like that? Any option
No,
is there?
you cannot. You cannot do that. Now, this version, what you have now, implementation consultant has updated all of these things. Okay, let's say your customer has given their changes and your implement. This would be available with implementation consultant. So when the knowledge transfer happens, the KT sessions happen, the implementation consultant will be sharing this guide with the support consultant. So every time there is some change in the system, you'll have to update it here as well.
Okay. Any other report wise, anything is there for
No,
comparison check? If there is a gap between the KT and the new person,
no,
usually this
no.
might happen.
Now you'll have to download reports. You can create reports and see what fields are available and what data is available. But
So there are.
configuration wise, similar to configuration workbooks, we cannot extract anything.
Oh, okay, okay. And here, earlier you mentioned HRIS elements are the some mentioned in that
Hmm.
admin center, I think, right?
Hmm.
What is that HRIS elements? You will be explained later, or like?
Yes, I'll be explaining. Don't worry,
Okay,
we'll see everything.
okay, okay. And this configuration side regarding these fields or global, everything will be
Hmm.
happen from the instance only, right? From the admin
Yeah,
center only.
some instance, yes.
Okay. Let's say if it's a pick list is there. Okay.
Hmm.
Some custom pick list we need to create. But that related to a different region with the region wise pick list needs to that's a requirement. Like with respect to this field, the pick list need to change. Right now, I think you explained about region wise how the global, if this is the field, this will be the fields available. But let's
Hmm.
see if it's global itself, customer is needed a pick list with a certain information. Can we do that? How where we are doing this here itself or any other
See here,
validations? Or
there's a pick list called ethnic group underscore USA. So at the end of these sheets, you will find all of the standard pick lists that are available here. Now you see ethnic group, all of these country specific ethnic groups. Okay. Now I don't want here, I want to see ethnic group USA. So the values, whatever that you see in the drop down of ethnic group USA, these are those values. Now you want to add one more field, one more value here. Your customer says ethnic group, maybe system is giving you these options, but I want to have some additional field. So configure it, you add it here. So maintain it here and let's say I want to have it as Y. Others. Now this is your
Excel sheet, if we are
customer.
down, there is an option for uploading this Excel sheet, or we are doing directly in the admin center.
Your customer has to give you this requirement, right?
Okay, okay. But earlier there was
Okay.
a concept, something, some upload of Excel sheet, right?
Yes.
Mass
Even
upload
now
of
we
something.
have. See,
Okay,
if it is only one value, and your customer said, I want to have this value. Why do you
okay,
want
okay.
to prepare a upload template and then add it? Upload option is there. Now you have 100 or 1000 values of pick list which are to be uploaded. So you can upload them into the system instead of adding that manually. You can upload. If it is one or two values, you can manually maintain. It is easy to maintain manually. If it is more than 10 records or more than 100 records, you want to do it, then you can upload.
The concept called validation or conditional values, that can be we can do it here also, right? Like in HCM, we have this. We can bring some validations for some employees.
Yes.
We can
Yeah,
default bring
logics
some.
can be applied. Logic can be applied whenever you try to try to make some some mistake. Let's say for gender we are selecting as male and salutation you are selecting as miss. Okay, system should not allow this. The system will give you the validation. That is not standard validation, but you can build that validation in the system.
Okay, we can build a validation. Like if paternity leave and a person, unmarried person is taking, we can validate that validations also, right?
Yes, those validations are can be applied in the system. Like I'll give you an example. This is not success factors given, but we have defined it in the system. Okay, this
Okay.
is for only for testing. Maybe no, all of the correct validations maybe we have not put, but some to show you the examples of what can be done in the system. I'll give you an example. Let's say if I've selected male here and selecting miss. Okay, you try to save it. Date of birth is required field. Now you can say that while uploading, while maintaining the date of birth, if you don't want to have it more than, you see here gender and salutation mismatch. You want to correct it or you want to proceed? You go correct it. There is a mismatch. Now what message you want to display, that can also be configured.
Okay.
Okay, and it is female and Mr. Then also again, this is error message. It won't allow you. You'll have to go and correct it. Those validations, calculations, defaulting some like I want to default some value based on other value. Yes, those can also be done. You want to auto calculate something? Yes, that is also possible. You want to hide some fields, you want to make some fields mandatory, some custom requirements like married since field should be made available only if user selects the marital status as married. For single, it should not show up. Yes, we can do that as well.
Okay.
Those things you can do it in custom validations.
Okay.
That will be seeing in our regular sessions.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other doubts on configuration workbook?
So you said for an example, let's say we have to add only one entry. For an example, as ethnic group, okay, then we can directly do it do it at system level. But if we are doing it for multiple entries, multiple line items, then we can fill it and upload it, right? You said, but
Yes.
how is
Upload
that
option. Yeah, upload option is available. Now, this upload can be done at the configuration level. Like there are 100 departments. Your customer says we have 100 departments. Now, all of those configuration related, you'll find it in here. Is that here? This one is Employee Central Foundation Object configuration. Here, your customer will give their requirement of what companies they want to have, what department they want to have, what locations they want to have, what divisions, what cost centers. So they'll give that requirement here. Legal entity. So these are the fields of legal entity or company. Legal entity is nothing but a company. What fields system gives us when you try to create a company in the system? So if I go to company creation, I want to create a company. So if you want to create a company, you need to fill all of these details, company code, company name, and so on. So these are the fields. Maybe some of them are mandatory, some of them are optional, some of them are standard, some of them are custom. So how do you know what fields are available? You see, standard system gives the company ID as legal entity ID, but we see it as company ID. So that means there is the change in the label. Okay. And what legal entities that your customer want to see? Let's say your customer has got 10 different companies or 20 different companies. So let's say I want to give my company codes as this one. So they'll give the data here, what companies they want to see in the system. Okay, so these are the companies. Company 1, company 2, and so on. Okay, now if you want to maintain this manually or if you have bulk data, you can upload this into system. Now you cannot upload this template, but you need to download the template that is specific to this particular portlet, this particular object. Okay, you can download the template, have all of this data copied into the template and upload into the system. So all of the uploads that we do it in CSV files. Excel, but again, CSV is comma separated values. While saving the record, you have the option of choosing the format. Or when you download any template, system will download the templates in CSV format only. You have all of your data maintained in that CSV file and upload into the system. Same thing you have it
Okay,
for
so
business units, divisions, departments, and so on.
okay, so we'll be covering that in the later sessions, right? How to
Yes,
download and
yes,
fill the details. Okay,
yes.
that's
If
thank you.
you all of this is part of the course content what we discussed in our demo. See, this is object maintenance here. How to add employee, how to manage employee, and then after doing this, we'll go and see introduction to CSV files, how to export employee data, how to import employee data, and also how to import these foundation objects or generic objects, all of this data, how to import. That's part of our course content.
Hi, Venu.
Yeah.
So all these additions, deletions come as a requirements only, mostly, right? And they can be covered in instance only, no? Or there
Yes.
will be a case where we need to go to provisioning also, case
No,
to case
I'll
basis.
be showing you what we do in provisioning. So initial configuration, when we start our configuration, we'll have to do some setup in provisioning. Always. Now the course content, first we are discussing all of these things. Okay. So once we
As
complete
in,
this, we'll start with the provisioning setup first. Okay. So we'll go to sequence and see what is to be done. We'll start with the provisioning. What we do in provisioning, what are the settings that we enable.
okay.
Now provisioning is generally is one-time activity. You'll be doing it in the initial stages of the implementation. And then you will do everything in the instance itself. Maybe if your customer's requirement is changed, earlier there was no requirement, but now after implementation also, now let's say you're implementing for a customer who was operating only from one country. In the support, they want to expand their business into a different countries, and they want to have a functionality called global assignment. Now, this global assignment, if you want to enable, you'll have to go to provisioning, enable that feature first, then come back to instance and configure, do the configuration related to the global assignments. In
Okay,
such
okay.
cases, you'll have to go and enable. But otherwise, in the implementation, first maybe maximum of 1 hour you'll spend on the provisioning settings. You'll just enable it and then come back to instance for the
Okay.
configuration.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Anything else? We'll stop it here. We'll continue tomorrow. Anything else before we close out for the day on this topic? Don't compare it with SAP. SAP, I think SuccessFactors has got a lot more than SAP HCM. Okay.
Venu, one more quick question. For India and other countries in Asia, it will be a common DC, or it will be country-wise, something like that, or
We
region-wise?
have different data centers now. India and the neighboring countries, we have one data center, but again for Middle East, we have a different data center.
So it is their decision, or we can opt for something like that?
Now, generally, depending on the region of the customer, SuccessFactors would be recommending you what data center the data should be in. Now, how does this matter? I'll tell you. If I am implementing for a customer who is in US, let's say their data center is 4. So usually SAP would be giving you the data center 4. Now, if you say that no, I don't want to have it in data center 4, I want to have it in data center 8, which is of UK. All of the updates that happens in the system, it happens in this time zone. For DC8, you have a different time zone right now. The
Yes,
timing
yes.
in US, it is for them it is night now. Now for India it is day. So when the release happens or when the updates happen, generally the updates happen in the midnights of that particular region. US midnight, it is day for India. So when you try to log in the daytime of India for US customer, you will see that maintenance window.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So meaning is each country will have their data center in their respective
Not for
locations?
every country within C. US is a large continent. So for US itself, we have different data centers, DC68 and DC4 and so on. Not country based. We don't have those many data centers. Australia and New Zealand, you see only one data center. Middle East countries, you'll see one data center. Now,
Actually,
how they
just wanted
decide
to
on
check.
what data center, that even I don't know how SAP set up that.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay, okay. So that clarity even SAP doesn't give, or
Now, SAP doesn't give means SAP will say that these are the data centers that we have, and depending on the customer when they are subscribing, they'll say that these are the available data centers for you, and we'll be allocating this data center. They'll not say that no, we have all of these data centers, we use this data center for this one. They'll not explain that. Okay. So that's why I've given you a document on the data centers and their locations. This one. Amsterdam, DC2, Amsterdam, 57 M7. Then we have Arizona, Sydney, DC Tennis, Sydney. Okay, you have 15 for Shanghai. And Dubai and Riyadh, you have 22 and 23. Okay, up to
Do
here.
we have anything in India?
India, I think it is a common one. No, name doesn't say anything like India. Let me show you for India what did we use. No, I don't have it now. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll stop it here. We'll continue tomorrow.